House Arryn. House Arryn of the Eyrie is one of the great houses of Westeros. It has ruled over the Vale of Arryn for millennia, originally as the kings of Mountain and Vale and more recently as defenders of the Vale and wardens of the East under the Targaryen, Baratheon, and Lannister dynasties. The nominal head of House Arryn is Robin Arryn, the Lord of the Eyrie, with Yohn Royce holding actual power over the house. Their lands are in the central eastern region of the continent. Their seat is the Eyrie, a castle on a shoulder of the Giant's Lance. House Arryn's sigil is a white crescent moon and falcon on a blue field. Their house words are, "as high as honor." According to legend, the house was founded by Ser Artis Arryn, the Winged Knight. He is said to have flown atop a giant falcon, landing on the topmost mountain of the Vale, and defeated the Griffin King, the last of the first men Mountain Kings. Afterward, he took the Eyrie and became the first king of Mountain and Vale. His descendants continue to rule the Vale ever since. The Eyrie has never fallen to invaders. During the War of Conquest, House Arryn repulsed a Targaryen invasion at Gulltown with Braavosi aid, but ultimately bent the knee peacefully to Queen Visenya after young boy King Ronald yielded the crown and Queen Regent Shara ordered the Vale's army to stand down, for which Ronald was allowed to ride Vhagar with the Queen. By submitting peacefully instead of being conquered, they were allowed to continue to rule as Lords Paramount of the Vale and Wardens of the East in the name of the Iron Throne. The Eyrie is considered impregnable and defends House Arryn from the violent hill tribes of the Mountains of the Moon. Jon Arryn is the most recent head of House Arryn, Lord of the Eyrie, Warden of the East and Defender of the Vale. He was a respected nobleman and both Eddard Stark and Robert Baratheon fostered with him. The Mad King condoned the kidnap of Eddard's sister and Robert's betrothed, Lyanna Stark. The Mad King had Eddard's father and brother killed for protesting against the kidnapping. When he then demanded that Eddard be turned over to the king's justice, Lord Arryn rebelled, calling his banners to war. House Stark and House Baratheon followed suit. The rebels forged an alliance with House Tully through marriage, with Eddard married to Catelyn Tully and the then elderly Jon to the young Lysa. After the rebel victory in the war, Robert became king and appointed Jon as his hand. Jon served the realm well for many years as Hand of the King. He died immediately prior to the events of the series, sparking King Robert's search for a replacement. Jon is survived by his wife Lysa and their 6-year-old son, Robin. Jon was investigating the legitimacy of the children of Cersei when he died. He found that they were not Robert's offspring by comparing their appearance to Robert's bastards based on the genetic preponderance for dark hair in House Baratheon. Game of Thrones, Season 1. Lysa Arryn writes to Catelyn, falsely claiming that House Lannister were behind Jon's death. Lysa flees King's Landing with her son seeking the refuge of the Eyrie. Robert Baratheon arrives at Winterfell, and asks Eddard to replace Jon as Hand of the King. Eddard accepts and begins an investigation into Jon's death. He learns that Jon may have been poisoned, and uncovers Jon's findings about Cersei's infidelity and Robert's lack of a true-born heir. Catelyn arrests Tyrion, and brings him to the Eyrie. Lysa is attempting to isolate Robin from the rest of the kingdom and use her role as regent to have the Vale Lords protect him. Tyrion tricks Lysa and is set free. Following King Robert's death and Eddard's arrest, Catelyn implores Lysa to lend her armies to march on King's Landing along with the forces of House Stark, but Lysa refuses. Game of Thrones, Season 2. House Arryn remains neutral in the War of the Five Kings. Lysa continues to withhold her armies from leaving the Vale to aid Houses Stark and Tully. Game of Thrones, Season 3. Tywin sends Littlefinger to marry Lysa, so that the Iron Throne can acquire the support of the Vale. Game of Thrones, Season 4. After privately admitting her role in the death of her husband, Lysa marries Littlefinger. Later, she attempts to kill Sansa, but is killed by Littlefinger. Littlefinger convinces the Lords of the Vale that Lysa committed suicide, and becomes Lord Protector of the Vale until Robin comes of age. Game of Thrones, Season 5. Baelish leaves Robin to be fostered at Runestone under the tutelage of Lord Yohn Royce. In King's Landing, Baelish gains House Lannister's blessings for a plan to use the Knights of the Vale to invade the North and reclaim it for the Iron Throne. Game of Thrones, Season 6. Littlefinger convinces Robin to use the Knights of the Vale to help Sansa. The Arryn troops camp at Moat Cailin, while Baelish travels north to offer his assistance to Sansa. Though she initially denies his help, she later requests the support of the Arryn soldiers. When the Stark army seems to be on the verge of absolute annihilation at the Battle of the Bastards, the Knights of the Vale arrive at the command of Littlefinger and Sansa, wiping out the Bolton troops, helping the Starks retake Winterfell. Littlefinger subsequently declares House Arryn's support for House Stark, and the Vale Lords join the Northern Lords in declaring Jon Snow the king in the north. This officially brings to an end the policy of neutrality that House Arryn has held during the War of the Five Kings. Game of Thrones, Season 7. Lord Royce and Littlefinger remain in Winterfell as representatives of House Arryn to House Stark. Sansa finally learns about Littlefinger's crimes against Houses Stark and Arryn, putting him on a surprise trial in which he is charged of murdering both Jon and Lisa Arryn and betraying Eddard Stark, and executed. With Littlefinger dead, and Jon pledging the North to Daenerys Targaryen, House Arryn has also become a vassal for House Targaryen. Game of Thrones, Season 8. Lord Royce continues to represent the interests of House Arryn and the Vale in the north, serving as a prominent advisor to Sansa. The Knights of the Vale work with the Starks and Thery allies in preparing the defenses of Winterfell against the marching army of the dead. The Knights of the Vale fight in the Battle of Winterfell. They suffer losses, but House Arryn still has a formidable military in the Vale. The remaining Knights of the Vale fight alongside the northern armies at the Battle of King's Landing.
Se você gostou do conteúdo, não se esqueça de dar like e se inscrever no canal. Eu fico aqui, até a próxima!